Hey everybody, welcome back to A Brief on Grief. I think I see and understand from my own life too that I think one of the most difficult things about expressing our grief, so again, grief being sadness, anger, fear, loneliness, jealousy, resentment, whatever, a compilation of all of that. I think one of the most painful things with expressing that and trying to reach out for support when we're in that place is when it's not received in a way that's helpful for our heart or that feels loving for our heart. And I know I've mentioned this in previous videos, talking about like the myths about grief and how we've kind of all grown up and been taught unhealthy ways of dealing with grief. So unhealthy messages, unhealthy like support phrases that we give to people when they're expressing pain and loss and disappointment, grief. So I think the next video I'm going to go into a little bit more about that in a little bit more detail of the different ways that we've been taught and socialized to respond in these unhealthy ways to people. But I want to keep the focus today on one specific area, one specific loss. And honestly, I know this deep in my heart. I know it in my heart that this is one of the most painful losses for me. And I know I'm not alone because I know human connection is what we all want and need. We don't survive well when we don't have human connection, when we don't feel connected to ourselves, when we don't feel connected to the people we love, when we feel disconnected from the world around us, from our community. There's different forms of connection. I will definitely make future videos on that. Tickle in my throat. That I know is one of the most painful things as a human being, is to not have the connection that we want and to reach out for a bid for connection and have it be unsuccessful. And I can speak from personal experience, from early wounds of disconnection linked to a disconnection with my dad, and from some close friends in my early teenage years. And so I've had those initial wounds, but I've realized that all the little bids for connection and losses, so again, like loss of expectation, you might be able to see it, like you're expecting to connect with somebody, or you're expecting to, like, say you have a conversation booked with a friend or something, and it gets canceled, or you text somebody and you don't hear back from them, or you have an event planned that you're looking forward to and that falls through. So those are all kind of bids for connection, either connection with another human being or connection with kind of like a group or a community. So I probably just jump into my real life example in my life that highlighted this for me. So really deeply in the last like month, almost 2 months, I've been sitting with this wound of disconnection and trying to understand it better and trying to, in a way that I'm in a process of healing it. And it's been amazing what has come up in the last several weeks with the help of a tapping workshop and different things. I won't go into that, but what I realized is the way that when I'm reaching out to connect with somebody, say specifically with pain, or it doesn't even have to be with pain, but if I am in grief or I'm reaching out to connect with somebody because I'm excited about something, when that falls through, there's grief in that and pain in that. But what I'm realizing from what's just happened in the last couple of weeks is the way I receive that, the way I receive myself in that grief that I feel, and the way I receive the other person in their inability to connect in the way I was hoping to, is huge. It's hugely monumental for keeping that pathway open to connection in that relationship. So without kind of talking kind of side and around the topic, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the specific example in my life. So I had 2 things happen in my life in a couple days as I was looking at this issue. And so what I did is I created something that I was really excited about. And I was sharing it with a friend that was close with me. And I was looking, it was a bid for connection, right? I was looking to get excited with her and celebrate with her and find out like what it stirred in her heart and all those. Anyway, that vulnerable sharing of myself and hoping to connect vulnerably with the other person on the other side. And I received a text message back from her saying that she was choosing that she wouldn't be watching it, and that it, because she felt like it would be against her true self. And then she said other things that were beautiful, like it said she was proud of me and was happy that I was doing something that I was excited about. It was, but that not able to watch it, that unsuccessful bid for connection in that way that I was looking for, it definitely triggered me, and I felt grief and I felt pain from that. But I realized in the moment, I was just like, I'm going to choose to respond differently than old Kimberly would have. And the way I've kind of been developing over the last like year and a half of trying to come from a place of love, even when I'm being triggered with pain. So it's compassion worth sandwich is this phrase that I coined kind of in this, and in as the day or so as this was happening and evolving, is that I stood back in my pain, realized the trigger, and I thought, okay, this is where I am now, but I don't want to respond it from this place, right? Because I caught myself kind of judging and assuming I knew what she meant, right? And feeling reactive, and I was like, I don't want to react like this. So I gave myself the space. I gave my grief. So I had compassion for myself and my grief. I gave it space out of worth for myself too, because I deserve to give that those feelings the time to move. But I also, the person on the other side, my friend, also deserves me understanding and compassion from me, and understand, and also deserves me to try to understand where they're coming from. So in that, I chose to give myself some time and then respond in a place from love and curiosity. So I basically had asked her, I spoke my disappointment. I spoke that I was sad and disappointed about it by her choice, but that I wanted to understand more. I wanted to I wanted to come from a place of love. I didn't want to respond out of assumptions and judgments. So I asked her if she could explain more to me. And what that opened up was a whole other avenue for connection, right? It was different than the initial bid for connection that I was going for, but it opened up an avenue for her to share what she meant by her response, and for us to like have this very vulnerable, amazing conversation again, which is connection, but in a whole other way that I didn't see at first. So, and this is huge, because the whole purpose of the reaching out for this person, and the whole purpose of us reaching out, is for this connection. But the old way that I would have responded, kind of by shutting down and maybe speaking in some of that pain that I was in, thinking that I had to make the other person understand how much I was upset, and that hopefully that would change their mind or change it in the future, that just closes the path to connection. But to respond in the way with love, like I did, and the way I've been trying to do in so many aspects of my life, that is a game changer. And to solidify that, a couple days later, I had another example, different, because it was an event situation that I was looking forward to, an opportunity in an event, but it was the same way. Like, I responded with the compassion worth sandwich, and it opened up an avenue for a totally different kind of connection that was almost more powerful than what the initial bid for connection may have been. Who knows? It's hard to tell, but let's just say it opened up another avenue that I didn't see, another avenue for connection, another avenue for love. So again, it's another proof that when you honor yourself, when you honor everything that you feel, and in the middle of your pain, if you can still honor that and honor someone else's pain or someone else's choice, knowing that it's not personal to you, it's out of something that they feel they need to do that seems true to them, they need to do to protect themselves, or whatever the choice is that they're choosing for them, and not because they're choosing to not love you. I don't even have the words to explain how important and how monumentally life-changing that is for me to realize. I'm choosing a whole new way of being, a whole new way of sitting with my grief, a whole new way of communicating it, and a whole new way of keeping my heart open for myself and the other person or the situation, wherever the loss is, to keep it open to all of that, all at the same time. Putting no priority above any other priority, but just breathing and staying in the space of that. And the magic, the magic that comes out of it. Magic being connection, magic being love, magic being surprises of things that you never saw coming in the first place. That's what it's all about. That's the power. And I'm going to end that there. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.